got interested in it. I retired from the city. I worked for Breckenridge as a pharmacist, and then I also worked for Texas Rehab as a disability examiner. And I graduated from UT in '68. And so I got crazy about sculpture and painting, and I started taking classes, and I needed a space, so here was North Loop, and I thought, well, I might as well use it. It's dilapidated, and you know, I have to worry about mowing the lawn, and so it's perfect. And so 2016 was the year that I decided I gotta try a large piece, because I told Brian, you know, I was taking my small sculptures different places, and you get a little award, you get a little recognition, but it wasn't really fulfilling my desires, I guess. So I bought this big rock in 2016, and I thought, well, I'm gonna try hacking at it, you know, see what happens. So if you can roll the tape. So this was my first sculpture, and I just tackled it sort of raw, you know. I mean, I started hacking at the head. I wanted to make a woman, a body with a baby. It's not a Michelangelo quality level, but you know, it's a start. So you can roll the tape.
I don't think the videos are working right. I'm sorry. So
not
I just need a picture. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got. What sort of situation do you have here?
He's got.
Oh, you got it on? Okay, it's not projecting to the thing?
Oh yeah, from the
movie?
From this.
Will it
Yeah,
play?
the movie's not loading, unfortunately. Just still.
Okay. Well,
Is it on your website?
yes, it is. I think.
Oh, I might be able to get
I've got it on my phone and on my computer.
This one?
You can roll that one, I guess, but it's not that one. It's the Madre, and it's just sort of the detail of what was started. Well, you can roll that one.
Oh, yeah, this is a good overview.
Okay.
Does everyone recognize this house now? Hey, there you go.
So if you don't like some of these, you can come looking for me and write me a note. But so these sculptures, the mother and child is actually, can you stop it? It's not actually here because I'll tell you the short story about it. I made it in 2016, and I'm all excited, and I go to the city. I say, I'd like to put it in front of the library. I'd like to put it on Town Lake. You know, we're sorry, Ray, this is, you know, you have to get special permission. You can go to the school, talk to the principal there, see if they'll take it, put it in the front there. And it was like, oh my God, you know, I don't think I can do that, you know. First of all, you know, they're gonna say, well, who are you, and stuff like that. And how are you gonna get it there? So I had no idea how to move these things. They weigh 1,500, 1,800 pounds. So I made this thing, and I'm all excited about it. And they said, well, you know, I called the Cedar Park. They said, we have the sculpture garden out here, and you can bring it here. We'll give you $300. And so I call around, and the first thing they tell you is, if you want to get this thing, you have to call Bastrop Foundry or maybe some party that can take it. They charge $1,400 to do that. So it's like I'm sitting with this rock, and I can't afford that. They're gonna give me $300, I lose $1,100, and that's just to take it. Then another $1,400 to take it out. So Anna Brantley at the City of Austin, AIPP, I said, she's the one I talked to about putting it on Town Lake, and had this big wild dreams. And so she said, no, Ray, but we have this Tempo project, 2017. You can turn that in as a request for, you know, to make it, and we'll give you, if you're selected out of 30, 40 people, we'll give you $10,000 to make it, and then we want you to transport it to Ramsey Park, then to Town Lake, and then it's yours. I thought, man, that's like a deal. So I submitted the mother, I didn't submit the mother and child, I submitted this figure in a small maquette. And they liked it, so I got 2017, and that was 2017 Tempo commission, along with, I think, 10 other sculptures that people made. that was the only stone sculpture of that size. Obviously, they were doing other things, metal and stuff like that. But that got me started, and so like that was like a big shot of epinephrine or dopamine or whatever. You know, it's like, man, I'm gonna really get after this stuff. And but it took me to go back to the mother and child. It took me 4 years before I could get. After I got the 10 grand, then I had some money to move stuff around, you know. And I went back to Cedar Park and said, "Yeah, we'll take it." And I lost money, but I showed it out at the Cedar Park. And I took it back in a year, you know, and I had to learn how to use the forklift, the telehandler, because, you know, I can't afford to pay somebody, you know, just to move the thing. What do they charge, $500, $600, plus the rental of the thing is $600. So anyway, I pushed through that, and I got this sculpture, and I got all excited, and I showed it in Cedar Park. It didn't sell or anything. It didn't win any awards or win ribbons or anything. But I pulled it back, and I had it sitting there at the house, and North Loop was there previously. And I finally thought, well, I got this call to entry. That's how I get all this stuff out of my yard. And you know, I submitted here. They say no, we don't like it. And right now, that mother and child is in Oxford, Mississippi, at the University of Mississippi Museum in front of it. And I'm real happy to tell you, it took 8 years to get it out there, but it's a very slow process for any artist, I think. And I started late on this stuff, you know, but it's very satisfying for me. And after I made that sculpture, I think, and the mother and child, I worked on that one. I've never shown that one anywhere. It's just bulky, and I'm kind of scared to lift it up and have it topple over all on me or crash into my trailer or something like that. But that's a brief story of that sculpture and that one. This one here is another temple commission that the city gave me 10 grand for. That was in 2021. And what happened there was that was a pandemic, you know, COVID. And so I made a smaller one out of limestone. These are all limestone from Florence, Texas, which is right here up the street, up the highway. So I made this particular piece has, you might see it on my website, it has two parrots' heads sort of opposite. And they said, can you put it over there on the Mar and at the Little Walnut Creek Library? And that's kind of like not the best area of town.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, you know, okay, I mean, it's, they're giving me the money, so, and when the city gives you the money, of course, I could get I moved it myself, because then I was able to handle the telehandler stuff, like I have a trailer, and so I did it, so I cleared a little more money from doing the second one. But I put it up in October. By February, homeless people, there's a lot of homeless people next to that library by the creek, and they called me to say, Ray, you gotta come over here, you know, sorry, but it looks like somebody vandalized this thing. This thing weighs about 1,500 pounds, and it had a metal rod to the bottom, so it wouldn't be so easy to start rocking it or whatever. But some crazy guy, I don't know if there's a lot of alcoholics and druggies along that creek, they just tipped it over, of course, yeah, you know, flying to different places. And for a while, I thought, well, I can't show that thing, I can't show it, and that's awful. And now I think, well, what the heck, you know, that's what it is, and people have to understand. I mean, it's nothing I did. But, so that's the story behind that one. And then I got to where I submitted to the Mexican American Culture Center this particular piece, and it was shown there for 3 years. So out of that piece, some group of people that do YouTube channels, living the life, I got a call in 2019 and say, Mr. Alaniz, are you the guy that made the sculpture? I said, yes, I was. Well, we'd like to do a little interview about you on YouTube, you know. And I thought, well, I thought this is a scam. It's gotta be, can't be for me. But it turned out to be they're legit, and so they did a 45-minute interview of me on YouTube, and I got a lot of publicity from it, and I would have never thought that that would happen, because it was there at the Mexican American Culture Center during COVID. Hardly anybody went there. It was closed. They were closed, but people walked along Town Lake and they saw it, and these people happened to see it, and they said, "We'd love to do a little video of you, and then we're going to put it on YouTube." And it's still up on YouTube. So I've gotten little successes like that, and little things that keep me going, you know. So I don't want to take any more time, I guess, but if you have any questions, those are some. Oh, the metal piece is an interesting thing. I think that I got tired of the stone, you know. I submitted it here and there. I've got to make something that's easier to move, you know. That could, you know, I don't have to rent a $600 crane, and if I'm going to survive at this, you know, I'm going to almost, you know, Social Security check going to, you know, this or that. So, so that's what happened. I designed it. My grandson is really good with a computer, so I said, I modeled this thing for him. I said, "Can you do a 3D print of this?" And he said, "Sure." So we made a little 3-inch, 5-inch maquette, and I submitted it to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Now, I've never been to Green Bay. They were paying $750 to take it, and then a year later they give you $750 to bring it back. I thought, well, we could throw it in the truck and we'll have a day trip, whatever, out there to.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, and that's what happened. So I had it water jet cut it out. These people on South Austin, and then I had them powder coated red, and then you know they said delivered by July whatever, you know, of 2021, and we took it out there, and they liked it. Well, we dropped it off on a Friday. On a Monday, I got an email from Laura Sly, who's the lady I worked with out there. She said, "Ray, we have a problem." I thought, oh my God, somebody knocked this thing down or destroyed it. And it's only this big. We've seen it at North Loop, you know. It's not that big. Weighs about 150 pounds. So they said no, but you know what happened? Some lady passed by, called us, and said, "You've got to remove that sculpture from that corner." It was on a street like in Green Bay, because she finds it offensive, and she thinks it's an aborted baby. I said, well, I'm not that kind of an artist, you know. I don't particularly. I'm not good at doing things satanic or whatever, you know. I mean, I just don't know where she's thinking, what she's thinking of, but that was not my intent. I mean, I just designed this thing, and I've got this design in my head, and my grandson put it on the 3D thing printer, and here it is. And she said, well, we're going to meet with Arts Commission here in Green Bay, and we'll see what they say. I said, well, look, if they don't like it, take it down. I'm fine with that. You know, it doesn't make any difference to me. They had paid me the money, you know, so just set it aside and I'll pick it up later. So it turns out they said, no, it's okay. We're going to leave it. And I left it there for a year, picked it up later. And then the following year I did, you know, the one that the sculpture out there looks like the Longhorn. Okay, I did that in red.
That's fine.
Yeah, that one. I did that in red, and but I left it up there. They gave me, they sent me a check, and I said, you all can keep it. I don't know where they put it, but so this is the same design, but changing the color and putting a Longhorn on it makes it look more. So I repurposed it, and now I don't know what I'm going to do for my next masterpiece.
Thank
So,
you.
I don't know if you all have any questions. Try this at home. You know, I don't recommend you guys, anybody.
Do you live in the house, or is